to Drummers Only Radio. Drummers Only is the UK's leading drum shop with store locations in Glasgow and Leeds. Our podcasts are full of interviews, gear reviews, and much more from the unique perspective of a drum shop. The show is hosted by two pasty Scottish dudes who talk real fast. Whoa, slow down there, Braveheart. So here's Chris, the Glasgow shop manager, and Adam, the social media manager. Be sure to like, subscribe, and let's do this.
Welcome to our podcast. Thank you for doing this, man.
Yeah, thank you for having me. How long have you been doing the podcast?
It's been about 2 years we've been doing it this year. Okay. So we started it August, I want to say, 2019.
Yeah, Adam and I started it because we thought we should always have a podcast. And when lockdown hit, we started videoing them like this because we obviously didn't have access to people anymore.
Yeah.
And we just kind of started, the shop itself started taking it a little more seriously and that kind of thing. So I think we're the only drum store in the UK that has one.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Winning.
Yeah, so we're doing okay. For our guests who have maybe been under a rock for the last 10, 12 years, Jared is the CEO and founder of Drumeo, the world's largest online drum site, lesson site.
Is that a question?
Rhetorical? You tell me.
I don't know, man. I think
it's big, huh?
Yeah, it's definitely grown over the years, so it's pretty fun.
How's Drumeo developed from how you imagined it to where it is now? Is it the way you saw it, or has it become something bigger?
Definitely, it's kind of taken. It's kind of got a mind of its own now. I say it's its own entity, mm-hmm. And although I'm still a huge part of it day to day, and I'm still filming regular videos for it, I love the fact that I think if I just got hit by a bus tomorrow, it would still be there. It would still be going, and that was always my vision. Was always that I want to create something that outlives me, because I don't know. I just like the fact that my kids could then see that, and maybe their kids could see that. And I grew up in family business, and so that's always been really important to me, is to have some form of legacy through business, and that's what I'm consistently working towards. So I'm all about the long game, really long, into my death.
That's a good game to be in, man.
Yeah,
and it's funny because a lot of people, when lockdown hit, wished they were in your position, right?
Yeah, everyone was scrambling to go online and go digital, and we didn't change very much, and so we were grateful for that. And I said to my staff, right when the lockdown happened, it was a couple weeks in, and businesses were worried and what's going on, and I just said, you know what, we are so lucky. Okay, we are so lucky. We did not do anything special to deserve this, and so we need to move forward with gratefulness. And we need to move forward with continuing to be humble, and just try and serve our students the best we can throughout this period of time when many people are struggling. And so even though we're fine, everything's great, it doesn't mean that that's the way it's going everywhere else, right?
But it means that you guys are, it doesn't matter if we're in a global pandemic or not, you guys are always still visible and accessible, at all the times, because of just how you've built Drumeo up. Now it's funny, leading off what Chris asked you about, Drumeo, did you always see it this way? It's funny, before this interview, I looked back on Drumeo's YouTube channel, and I went all the way back to the first video you guys uploaded, because I remember watching it when it first came out, when it was freedrumlessons.com, and I was I'm 28 now, and I was 15 at the time, and I've just not long started playing drums. And I was like, oh man, this is amazing. This is cool that people are just, uploading these really high quality lessons and things like that. So, we're talking about the vision of Drumeo. When you first started doing free drum lessons online, did you have any idea of what would become now Drumeo, or,
No.
What was your thought process?
Well, with free drum lessons, it was myself and my business partner, Rick Kettner, at the time. And we were just trying to look ahead and see, okay, where's culture moving here when it comes to people's attention, and there wasn't the term back then, but you hear it now, this term called attention economy. And in business, if you're selling a product or a service, you have to have some form of attention to sell that. And so we were thinking about how can we get attention, but in a way that actually helps people, and in a way that doesn't necessarily like draw too much from the well, in that, we don't want to be advertising. We want our marketing or our content to truly help people. And we found that when your marketing just helps people without asking for anything in return, people will be more inclined to trust you and buy from you in the future. And so that was kind of like the hypothesis at the time. And I remember when we went into the session of filming, because we were paying like maybe $1,200 a day to film, and then we were going to editing. We were spending maybe, FDL I think originally cost us between $75,000 and $100,000 to put together, and we were telling people about it, and they're like, "So how are you going to make money?" Because the whole freedrumlessons.com. We're like, "Well, we don't really know, but we know that if we can help people and get them to know, like, and trust us, then hopefully they'll ask us for more and tell us what they want in the future." Yeah. And that's essentially what it was. It's kind of like we kind of have this element of curiosity about the way that we run business and the way that we develop any sort of products or services. Is we have solid hypotheses based off of data and studied, within the market, and then we act on those. And I would say around half the time we succeed and half the time we fail. So
that's a pretty good success rate, though, man.
Yeah. So
I was going to say, well, how did you find the gap in the market? Was it an obvious gap to you, or was it something that you kind of stand back and like, well, what's not happening? What's missing for drum lessons? Well, obviously the internet. Is that?
Yeah. Well, there was when we first started doing that, I think YouTube, when we set down the path of freedrumlessons.com, YouTube hadn't even launched or become popular yet.
Whoa.
Right? So the original freedrumlessons.com videos were uploaded on a platform called Howcast. And so what we were trying to do is just build a destination for drummers that anyone could link to. So when anyone asked in a forum, or when anyone asked anywhere, because there's no social media then, so it's like drum forums, it was
House of Drumming and all that.
Yeah.
Drummer World and all that. Yeah.
Yeah. So we thought, when someone says, "Hey, I'm a new drummer, where should I start?" we wanted them to link to us. And so we wanted to create a website that felt very approachable, that felt very like, hey, they're not trying to sell me anything. Everyone has their bullshit radar, right? So as soon as if they can sense it right away, it's like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
And so we wanted that. So when they dropped on the website, they're like, this is amazing. It gives me everything I need without asking me for anything in return. And they have a forum and are responding. The website owners are responding and helping and giving me more information, again, without asking for anything. We made it a point to not put ads on the website for the first year. And later, it's obviously changed. Business has to be sustainable. So strategies shift. But at the time, it was very much just a way to create a place, a destination for drummers to go online that actually deserved to be the number one place that people would recommend. Nothing based on just search engine optimization tactics or pay-per-click advertising tactics or psychological persuasive tactics in the form of like our voodoo copy or anything like that. We wanted just to create a spot that deserved to be number one on the merits of its own thing, being that it just was there to help drummers. That's it.
Did you design those merits, or was it something you saw missing? Again, like if you wanted it to be based on its merit, did you see that merit that wasn't there from other places or other things, and then decide what that was?
Yeah, there was nowhere to go where it was just like, okay, a brand new drummer, if they search like beginner drum lessons or whatever, like we would look at, back then it was search data, right? So we were looking at, we would go to Google Trends or Google Keywords, and we'd say, okay, what are people searching for? What problems are they trying to solve? And that's a great way to start any business, right? Look at a problem in the marketplace, look at the competition. Is it currently being solved or not? Yes or no? If it's no, then solve that problem for people. So people are searching for terms like free drum lessons, like beginner drum lessons, like how to play drums, learn how to play drums, drum lessons, all these terms. We're like, well, no one's really created an amazing number one resource for these. So that was what we did with that, and thankfully it worked, because otherwise I would have been out a lot of money.
It seems to be a very simple way to do it, a very natural way to do it.
It's kind of cold though, Chris, because it's like, this is the thing with business and creativity and artists, right? Artists don't want to necessarily pander to, oh, I'm just going to do that because that's what they told me to do. I'm not being true to myself as an artist. So I guess I just have this very split brain, and I have half of my brain, which is business, analytics, like I can be cold, have tough discussions. And then half my brain, I am that artist that's going to sweat over like my 12-inch tom, and why is it not sounding the way I want? And so I'm able to go from one to the next, and I've met other people like that too in business, but some people are more true to the artist side, and I look up to those people so much, because it's just different. We need some of everyone, but for me it's like I'm able to kind of look at things in a more cold way, whereas other people wouldn't do it that way.
Well, there's a kind of similarity there with what we do, because we love drums. Everybody in here loves drums. But we can't be precious about what we sell, because it's not actually ours. It belongs to whoever buys it. So we've just had a beautiful Yamaha PHX land, flagship, top of the range, but it's got to go to someone.
Yeah,
it has to go out. It can't
live
stay
here forever.
It can't live. No, you're right. It can't live here forever. So, I get that, man. I get having that split in your brain. Well, like, look at how beautiful this handcrafted instrument is. Who's going to buy it?
Yeah.
Which is also frustrating, because like the creative part of us really wants to play it.
Yeah. No, I get that, man. That seems to be, that'll be why you're successful as well. Because you can have the tough conversations that need to be had, and at the same time still deliver a service that helps people.
Yeah, like I understand the creative side of what musicians want and how they want to progress, and the psychology behind that, because that's essentially me. I am that person who I still feel like the more I play, the more I feel like I suck, and that's because the more you know, the more you realize you don't know, and that's just the way artists work. But on the other side, there's the business side, where it's like, okay, I want to help people like me, and how can I do that? How can I help continually solve problems for people? And that's the more like analytical business side. And so I think they both have validity, and there's art in both of them, just in different forms.
Oh, absolutely. So, I absolutely agree. What's the biggest challenge when growing the brand then for you guys?
The challenges really changed throughout the years. So originally, the challenge was finding people that liked our products and sell them the products, so we are not bankrupt. That's basically it. And so originally it was like this, right? We had so many challenges, external and internal. External, beyond our control. The US dollar shifted. It was like, it almost ruined us at one point. Internal, it's the decisions we're making on a day-to-day basis, that are right or wrong based on our gut feeling. We've made a lot of wrong decisions. They're generally more valuable than the right ones, because you know what not to do. Yeah. So, for example, like right now, the company has grown a lot, and we're at around 70 people total inside the company, and this is spread over 4 brands, right? So I have Guitario, I have Piano, I have Drumeo, and then we're launching a new brand in July called Singio. And so now my challenge is, we're hiring so many people. I want to make sure all of these staff are happy, are feeling challenged, are professionally developing. Like anyone who works for any company, they want to feel some sort of connection to that company and some level of growth. And so that's been a big challenge now. It's just like making sure everyone is on the same page, everyone's aligned, moving towards the mission of getting more people to start and stay playing music, right? We want to eliminate the dusty instruments in closets, okay? This is something that I feel is like the music industry has kind of done a poor job on, the music instrument industry. They're too focused on the front end, selling instruments, and then they don't care if people use them or not. And so we really want to try and do both. It's very difficult. So I know why they don't do it. But so that's a challenge, is the people, aligning them, as well as from the student side of things, keeping people engaged and loving playing music.
Yeah, it's fascinating because there's just questions off of that answer. There's like the UK music scene and industry has a lot of influence because of its heritage and its history, but globally it's very, very, very small, very small. Like there'll be more drummers in Texas than there are in the UK. You know what I mean? So when no one's picking up instruments, that will have a causality. There's a causality for you, because if not enough people are picking up instruments, then not enough people are coming to Drumeo to buy a subscription or to learn how to play it. So it's fascinating. I think there's something in that instrument companies should maybe try and find a way to encourage people to bring them out the cupboard again, or pick up. And it's also trend led. Like, man, 3/4 length guitars went crazy when Ed Sheeran blew up. You know what I mean? Everybody decided that let's play the 3/4 size guitar. I can get a loop pedal. I can do it all on my own. Yeah. So it feels a little like Adam Levine from Maroon 5 has recently come out to say there are no bands anymore. No one likes bands anymore. So it feels like the music industry needs to find some sort of band, guitar band or something to spearhead it. Maybe, I don't know the answer, but
maybe it's the market is the market, man. Like, you can't really change what people want. You can change what influences culture, but you can't necessarily guarantee that whatever you do is going to change culture. You can only try things and throw lots of money at them, right? And lots of organizations do this. I think music is more like fashion, in that it's cyclical, right? And so now you see, like, I see people, like kids, wearing these really high pants, and bell bottoms are coming back, and it's like, what the hell is going on here? This is, I don't want to have to go back to that. I was just getting into the skinny jeans here after I had to get my figure in order to get so now we're going bell bottoms. Okay, whatever. I'm going to start eating lots of food again.
Yeah, you can go and raid your dad's closet.
Yeah, totally.
So I think music is like that, and I hope that the band comes back and is popular again.
Yeah.
And I hope that learning an instrument becomes popular again. It just might be different. It might not be the same instruments. You know, it might be different tools. And I think it's hard for us, right, as drummers. We don't want to be we don't want to be romantic about the tool, but I am.
Well, we all are. We still play vintage drums, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Right? So that's difficult. So, but we have to be comfortable with the fact, like, that future bands might have more electronic drums. They might require drummers and rhythmists to do things differently.
Right? Absolutely. Things like the way we home record now, just looking behind you, there's a full rig there. It's not done in the studio anymore. It's done on a budget. All these things are changing all the time.
Yeah, right. So it's like,
oh wow,
cameras,
woo!
All my cameras are mirrored for some reason. I don't know why.
What is that drum set?
This is, well, I wish I was mirrored. This is a A&F kit.
Oh, okay. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
They don't have a lot of market over here. There's no one's doing them over here.
Can I just say, shout out for, like, unexpected, like, multicam. Hello. Like, that was rad.
well, I do a Drumeo coach stream. So we have our Drumeo coaches, and so we do like around 13 live streams a week. And I do one of them, and every Saturday. So I'm set up here. My wife comes in and hosts. The kids interrupt us fighting from time to time, and I'll play piano and sing her songs sometimes. So we just, like, get ridiculous and fun in this room. And so I created this because it's, like, so nice to have a space where I could just, like, walk out with my socks and sit down and do a live stream rather than driving 20 minutes to the studio. Yeah.
So, I mean, this is a drum shop. You have a massive drum educational website. What was your relationship like with your first drum teacher? Because that's supposed to be the most important one, right? The one that puts sticks in your hands and gets you to play Back in Black. So did you have a good relationship with that teacher?
Yeah, my first teacher was a guy named Ron Jansen. And Ron was my second cousin. And he actually, at the time, he was, you know, those hot rods Yeah. So he had a company where he was making these hot rods. And so he was really into drumming and drumming business and stuff like that. But he was a meat and potatoes drummer. and he was more of a musician, and he learned and played drums just as a way for him to make music, because he also played guitar, he also sang. So when he taught me, it was like there wasn't any sort of element of, there was no technique. He doesn't know technique. All he does is hit the drums. And I actually think that was really good for me, because if he went too technical too early, I think I might have lost interest. So it was all just about playing beats, playing a few fills, and then getting right into songs. There was no like how to sit or how to set up or how to tune or how to hold nothing. Then after that, I had to go back and relearn some stuff with other teachers. But my first teacher was awesome. He taught me everything I needed to know to play songs. And so that's why I think within 1 year after my first lesson, and obsessively practicing for that whole year, 1 year after that, I started teaching.
Right. Wow.
So so I was like, he taught me a lot about teaching, getting new drummers started, and what is actually required, cutting out all the fluff and just giving them what they need to get playing music ASAP.
Is that something that you still do personally now, even with Drumeo? Is this, or do you have like a playlist of, I could show you, but here's like Benny Greb, for example, here's showing you the exact same thing, or do you know what I mean?
Well, we have lots of playlists for new drummers and different ones. Like we have the Drumeo method, which is like our core curriculum inside of Drumeo, and where the first level 1 is just getting you playing music. But we do go over some of the tuning stuff and how to hold sticks and everything. And then I have another course coming out called New Drummers Start Here, which is a much quicker course. So it's for those drummers that are just like, okay, just get me started. I don't want to watch a ton of videos. Just get me going as soon as possible, right? Yeah. And then we have other courses that are like 10 videos, getting people started as quick as, like really quickly, leaving out a lot of stuff. And people kind of can just gravitate towards what they like the most.
Yeah, when I studied at college, we did a lot about how to teach and different methods that people use, and people learn in so many different ways. I don't know that a subscription or a prescription rather is kind of for everyone works, especially with music, because people hear it differently. Like my wife has what's called synesthesia, so nice. she associates color with things. So like, I think Kaz Rodriguez has it.
He does.
Yeah. So like he will look at music in a wildly different way from Adam and I or you, or so like finding one way for everyone just doesn't work, and especially if you're dealing with children. Like I've taught kids before, and
we've all been there, man.
Yeah, I'm trying to get them to. It's like trying to get this, like teaching them to ride a bike. Just let them go and let them stumble, and eventually they'll keep pedaling. I think that's a really good way to do it. I think that makes so much sense.
But that's why private instruction is never ever going to go anywhere. Like the one-to-one element is so important for the people where they try out other things, or they know what's not going to work for them. You know what I mean? Like for me, for exercise, for example, in the gym, like in order for me to do it, I need a trainer and I need someone there to show me. Otherwise, I'm not going to do it. My mind just doesn't work that way. And so, yeah, other things, it's different. So you have to be very self-aware. And I think the thing is kids don't know what they don't know. They're not self-aware. And so that's where a good teacher is really important.
Yeah. Do your kids play?
No, they bash around and stuff.
Just
they play piano. Yeah, they play piano a little bit. Yeah, everyone asks me that, but it's like I'm not going to force them. I love drumming, but they are into the Minecraft and Roblox, and like they film videos, and they're into tech and gaming and a little bit of music.
Yeah, my daughter turns 1 next week, and my wife and we both play drums. So we're getting that a lot. Is she going to play it? She started to pick up sticks, but we'll just let her like hit them. Well, she's trying to eat them actually more than anything else at the moment. But she can see that there's a practice pad, and like I have to hit that, and then I'll eat it again. Like, you know what I mean? She can just kind of tactile at the moment for her. It's fascinating though. But yeah, the way people learn is vastly different. So those courses sound like a great idea.
Do you do any teaching in those courses anymore, or do you? Yeah, all the time.
Yeah, I did the whole level 1 of the method. I did this new course that's launching in April, a couple weeks. Shot here actually called New Drummers Start Here. It's just more of a different course. Like I said, shorter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still do a lot of stuff, especially with COVID.
Yeah, for sure. Your site has hundreds of information on it, from obviously all the courses, your Edge memberships, all the podcasts, like looking at the Drumeo Gab stuff, looking at all those lessons. Like, how do you decide to funnel it when people start asking you questions? Because the one thing that I've learned doing these and listening to other podcasts is every drummer has an opinion, man. Like, and their opinion's right. You know what I mean? Like, because it's art and because it's subjective, and like Mark Juliana's going to be different from Peter Erskine's going to be different from Michael Shack, whose priorities are wildly different. How do you funnel that for people? Because there's just so much there outside of the basic. Here's how we play a beat.
Well, it is kind of like a buffet, right? When you go there, and it's similarly to any video sharing platform. So there's a lot of people actually that just want the curriculum, and they want to be able to look at the lesson and look at the next lesson, and then we have assignments included, and we have deliverables or goals for each student to hit for each lesson. But yeah, there's over 5,000 hours of content inside of Drumeo. And so right now, a big thing is working on the organization of this content so we can give drummers what they need when they need it, right? That's the ultimate goal, is for a drummer to think in their head, I want to learn this, and then for them to go on Drumeo and see that. That would be, obviously that we can't make that direct kinetic connection. But
not yet.
How rad would that be? Yeah.
Yeah. So we're doing things like, we're doing figuring out a recommendation engine, which is a big coding thing. I had a meeting this morning about our search function and creating new algorithms that weight specific things based on what people are searching for. Predictive search. All these kind of things. That's just boring business stuff, but it's like the nuts and bolts of how the website comes together on the back end.
It's like ours. If someone spells Zildjian wrong, the website still has to recommend them Zildjian cymbals if that's what they want, or trying to just catalog DW parts, like tiny little bolts and keys and like, it's insane. So absolutely get that, man. Absolutely do get that.
Because you're right, it's totally essential. These are things that obviously people will search wrong, or they'll search something so vague that you just hope that your specific thing is the right thing that they see.
Yeah. So if they search drum fills, like, what should they see?
Yeah.
Like, okay, what level are they? How long have they been playing? Do they play a 4-piece, 5-piece, 7-piece drum set? Like, there's all these questions and permutations and
variables.
We'll never get it perfect, but the important thing is that we keep trying and we keep pushing to improve, because over time, as we learn, we'll just slowly get better. And like I said, I'm in this for the long game, so it's all good.
I think you guys are doing a pretty amazing job, man. Like,
thanks.
The exposition of some of the most amazing players in the world, creating some of the most the greatest lesson content. We're good friends with Todd Sucherman. He's like, oh, nice, man. Like, that guy is just, to have that guy, even just him on his own. The joy the joy he brings when he's there.
We were talking actually to Todd about when you took him up a mountain in Canada, with a yellow Pearl Decade, and got him to play drums up the top of a mountain, and it just
he told us the story.
Did he? Yeah, he was kind of nervous, and I was too, because we loaded these helicopters with stuff, and I was just like, is this going to take off? And I had a bass drum on my lap in a helicopter. I was like, this doesn't feel right.
Yeah, I remember watching the video, and you just said to him, like, yeah, it should be fine. And there's just he had this expression on his face that was just like, oh man, today could very well be my last day. Like,
no, all I was going to say is, I think he earned his gin and tonic at the end of the day. I think you all did. What's pretty startling is how well he played with, like, freezing hands in the rain at altitude.
Unreal.
Mega.
It was like he would go, like, we were sitting out there. We were hoping for good weather, but it was just raining off and on, and it's pretty cold. Like, if he's from Austin, right? So he's not really as used to that cold, I don't think. And for us, it's like, what, a little bit of rain. You can't not, like, be okay with rain if you live in BC. It's like a rainforest, right? So yeah, he just kept his hands warm, and then when he came out, like, it was shocking how good he played.
He's still probably from through the staff in here. He's still the best clinic we've ever put on.
Yeah, I don't doubt it.
Outstanding, a consummate pro. I met him. We had tried to get him for clinic. It's a long story, but we tried to get him for clinic, and it didn't happen. For whatever reason, but he about a year later he emailed the shop saying, "Yo, I'm passing through Glasgow where the band are playing. Unfortunately, I can't get you a ticket, but if you can get to the show, we can hang out." So I get a ticket, and he's like, "Yeah, man, come to this door at this time." And straight after he'd played a set, he went backstage, changed his shirt, and stood outside and hung with me for an hour, just shooting the breeze on all things drums. He's that guy, man. That's who he is. You know, he's absolutely just warm, welcoming, humble. It's like a proper asset for you guys, you know, and music generally, you know.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that, you know, I'm not going to say musicians are lazy, because they're not, but they're musicians and drummers can have this rap that's like they're lazy. They can be lazy or unreliable or not as hardworking. Todd is none of those things. He's an incredible teacher. He's an incredible player. And he's such a hard worker. One of the hardest working drummers I've ever met.
But without the hustle, without the like, your bullshit meter doesn't go off, man. Like, you know what I mean? You just never feel like you're being hustled out of something. Yeah. You know?
No, he's fantastic.
When we're speaking of Todd, obviously you guys looking at Drumeo over the years, you've had a cavalcade, I'm going to use the word cavalcade, of different drummers beyond, you know, from like Annie Canales and Benny Greb and so on and so forth. So this is a two-part question, and you probably get this quite a lot, so forgive me if I'm asking you something that's familiar, but is there anyone that you've not had on Drumeo that you would love to have on? That's always seemed to just elude you at any given moment, or like, you know, say you've just hit up, I don't know, I can't even think of an example, but they just happen to be busy at the time and just your schedules have never met. Is there anyone like that?
Steve Gadd would be one.
That would be rad.
There's been lots of discussions throughout the years with companies and stuff, and so we're trying to make that happen. Vinny Colaiuta is a hard drummer to lock down, especially because he doesn't like clinics and doesn't necessarily have the same from what I hear, doesn't have the same educational philosophies. So there's differences, which I think is even more fascinating. So it would make for some really interesting discussions. Carter Beauford, my favorite drummer, Dave Matthews Band, you know,
hell yeah,
I would love to have him out. Travis Barker, I would love to have him out.
Jimmy Chamberlain. Sorry.
But just so you know, Chris is a huge Jimmy Chamberlain nerd.
Okay, I've spoken with Jimmy before, and we've talked about stuff. And it's just a matter of like finding the right time and the right moment for them to, you know, be a part of what we're doing here, because they generally, the way it worked is they have to travel to us. It's a 2 or 3 day thing. It's outside of the scope of what they're normally doing. You know, it's like, so they're on the road or they're doing sessions, and now they have to think like, okay, I have to teach a lesson. I have to teach a lesson live, and I have to play songs. And I just heard from people before that it's very stressful because of the fact that it's targeted towards drummers, and they go and read the comments. And, they don't want to get flamed. They don't want to do poorly. They want to do really, really well, and so there's more pressure. And so that's why I think it'll all happen, you know, hopefully in time.
Long game.
Yeah,
long game.
Exactly.
Yeah, because it's amazing looking at Drumeo kind of evolve and grow over time, especially because I've mirrored it to how we do our podcasts a lot, which I know is a ridiculous link, but stay with me. Because like before it would just be, you know, you interview someone just to have them on your podcast, whereas now it's like we want to interview people because they have valuable things to say. You know, and much like Drumeo, I would assume in the beginning you get a big name like Benny Greb or Todd Zuckerman or whoever, because, you know, it's great having them teach a lesson, but now it's more catered to, okay, well, what can this drummer bring to us? You know, what can this drummer bring, like, about their vibe and, you know, how they approach things that's different from, you know, like from Thomas Pridgeon to, you know, to Stan Bicknell, or, you know what I mean? Like, they all have something unique that they can bring to it. It's not just, let's get another famous drummer in to do a lesson.
And from a business point of view, it captures more audience. It reaches a wider market. You know, if you have, I mean, you had Dan Mayo, like, you know, he's not mainstream in it by any stretch, really. You know.
Well, he was on the podcast.
Yeah,
I don't think he's ever been to Drumeo. Yeah.
But you know, it's somewhere in there, and it's an audience to start reaching out to before that becomes the next logical step, I guess.
Yeah. Well, we had Larnell Lewis was our first guest instructor, and that was before he got the gig with Snarky Puppy. And that was a really interesting guest, and that taught us a lot about who we should bring out to Drumeo. And so it's not all like numbers driven. It's there is a blend, right?
Audience. I guess when I say reach an audience, that's not like you're a movie trying to sell tickets at the weekend. You're offering valuable information to musicians, and you know, I could probably guarantee that maybe some of the jazz guys that walk into this store don't feel as not like, it's not a jazz shop. It's not like Revival Drum Store or something where there's couches and rugs everywhere and we're selling riveted cymbals, because that audience isn't big enough for us to sustain a business. So, you know, I get it, but we still sell jazz cymbals, so we still offer that option for people. Yeah, I think is what I'm trying to say. You know.
I think you got there in the end, yeah.
Yeah, somewhere.
It's hard to balance, you know, because essentially you become a curator. If in the drum gear thing, you're the curator, and because you're in this geographic location, people come to you and they look to you for what they need as a drummer and what tools they should be considering, right?
Yeah, especially if you offer yourself as an authority.
Yeah,
because that's ultimately what we're all trying to do. You know, you be an educational authority, us as a sort of product authority or instrument authority. You know, to what to buy for the right gig, etc., etc. So yeah. So if you've got over 5,000 hours of content, how has that changed your approach to playing the instrument? Because there's just so much. You must have learned so much talking to these guys and girls, man.
Definitely.
Like,
in my development, it's more about what I choose not to practice than what I choose to practice. So I see so many great things, and I just can't go through them all. And so I try and pull like the things that apply to me and in my personal development as a drummer, where I want to see myself going. And so that's obviously creates my own unique journey. And with you kind of can see some of the influences along the way. So you'll see a lot of, I hope you see some Todd Zuckerman influences. I hope you see some Carter Beauford influences. I hope you see some Steve Gadd, some Dave Weckl, a little bit of Thomas Lang, all these great drummers. And so, yeah, it's hard to know though. Like now I'm practicing double bass, and I took like a 10-year break on that. So I feel like really, really bad at double bass.
I think that's healthy though, right? That's health. It's healthy to suck at something, especially as an adult.
Yeah,
you know,
it's hard though.
Absolutely, and it should be. I guess, you know, it should be like.
I'm with you, man. The double bass and me are not friends. We struggle a lot.
I've never played it. I don't have a double pedal. So
really?
No, never done it, man. Always just been one.
Well, my social media manager Yoni, he really likes Gojira, and Gojira is this metal band. Yeah. So they challenged me to play a Gojira song, and so okay, cool. I'll play it. I listened to it. It should be fine. Had some double bass in it, and then like, and we got a hold of Gojira. We talked to Mario, the drummer, and they sent us a drumless track. I'm like, okay, great. So now the drummer is going to be watching this. Pressure's on. I practiced probably in this past week. I probably practiced like 10 hours. Okay, and my legs just kept seizing up. It's like, and I got to the end of it. I'm like, guys, I can't actually do the part because this is a muscular thing. Like, so we were set to film. I think we filmed 2 days ago, and I ended up switching how I was doing the part to just doing double strokes because I'm comfortable double strokes with both feet, not singles. And so it's like, it's this weird thing of like trying to balance what I learn and still actually putting content out there. And there's more pressure in certain situations.
Yeah, every day is leg day.
Right.
Like, totally. I think it's fascinating, like, when you look at you guys as a brand, that you're not just constantly pumping out lessons. And what I mean, but that may sound like a weird thing to say, but what I mean is, like, you're constantly doing lifestyle content, where, like, you have, when you did the Phil Collins video where you had about 1 million different drums set up around the Drumeo office, but stuff like that is fun. Do you know what I mean? It's fun to watch. So what was it like filming that? Because I imagine that must have been a bit of a headache.
Yeah, well, I didn't have to set it up. So I have a great...
You had a great time, yeah.
So I have a drum tech on staff. His definition, I think his job title is facilities manager, but he's a drummer and he really just gets it. And he now can set up my kit. I hardly have to move anything. It's the most amazing feeling to have that. But he set up these 99 toms all around our office.
Wow.
99 toms. And I did 4 takes of that.
Wow.
The harder part was singing it over top of Phil's vocal. And it's just like, man, I do not sing. But I figured if it's a Phil Collins video and I'm just playing drums, it's not fair.
Yeah, right.
So I have to like sing along with it. But the whole idea around that is like, we want to, when it comes to our public facing content, it's different than what's inside of Drumeo. Drumeo is like this walled garden, this oasis, this utopia where drummers can come and it's safe. You can share videos of your practice. You can talk about what your struggles are. No one's going to flame you. We don't have trolls, inside of Drumeo. It's just, they don't exist. YouTube public is different. It's open. There's more anonymity. There's just a more broad range of people. But there, what we try and do is create content that appeals to a really wide audience, but that can help to influence drumming culture and music culture. So the In the Air Tonight video, the Larnell Lewis hears Enter Sandman for the first time, like that got like 5 million views in a month or so. And what I like about those pieces of content is they reach way outside of the drumming sphere to people that have not even played drums, or maybe used to play drums, kind of are interested, and they'll see it and they'll be like, hey, yeah, I want to pull that drum set out of my closet, blow the dust off and play again. So that's what we're doing there, is we're trying to get people to start playing drums, and we're trying to keep drums in the conversation when it comes to music culture.
It feels like that split brain again.
Yeah.
Drumeo content, external content, it feels like that again, which is again smart. If it's driving the bus a certain way, then there has to be, you've got to put the road down for the bus to go on, I think, in order for people to get it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I never thought I'd hear a bus metaphor today.
Yeah. You'll go to bed a better person.
Yeah.
So guitar note, piano, guitario, singio.
Yeah.
Is that going to be a hybrid with Drumeo as well? So like band ideas, so maybe guest guitarists come in and talk to you guys about what is expected of a drummer, or how to back a singer, how to play and learn those kind of musical skills. Is that the road for that?
Yeah, so we have like Drumeo, piano, guitario, singio. We have some bass platforms in mind, or we're going to work with a partner there. And then the eventual thing is to build what's called a unified platform and create a space where musicians can connect with others in their local area that have similar musical interests and that are at similar levels. So if you wanted to, so like I tell my staff, like, wouldn't it be cool if we created the next Beatles? This is like a huge, obviously a big ambitious goal, right? But that's kind of a cool mission or vision to say, we're going to create the next Beatles, or we're going to create the next Led Zeppelin. And we're going to at least be a part of their story, right? That would be so amazing. So that's the thing when it comes to an educational perspective. And then we're also talking about doing more edutainment, or like my business is called Musora, right? We talked about doing like Musora entertainment and have more documentaries there. I'm working on a sitcom idea right now. I'm working with writers, and then we did one documentary on the history of electronic drums. We're doing another one on the 100 years of drum sounds. We're doing stuff in piano and guitar as well. And so, we really want to just create content that positively affects music culture.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. It's man, you strike me as quite fearless.
Yeah, I'm
Like bold and
hard.
fearless, man. Like, I don't care, I'm doing it.
Well, it's a long-term thing. I'm not just doing this for the next 5 years and then cashing out. So I'm reinvesting all of my money, for better or for worse. I could be broke in 20 years after all of this. It's just the way it is. And my dad always says, like, head down, horns out. Let's go. Let's get it.
It feels like you die on the sword a little for it all.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. That's amazing. I think this industry needs a little bit more of that, because it's got some real integrity to it. It doesn't feel like, certainly doesn't feel like it's you're trying to make some sort of weird cash cow. And I don't know. I don't know why that came to mind, but you know what I mean. If you look at things like the way Spotify treat artists,
Yeah.
where they don't really. So yeah, it feels pretty cool, man. I think that's
and it's balanced, right? Like, I know that I've been called like the Sham Wow guy, or like the Billy Mays, and I've kind of leaned into that a little bit, because I have no problem asking people to buy something if I believe in the product. I have no problem advertising aggressively if I believe in the mission and what we're doing. No, everyone, I think they see, a lot of people, they have this perception of myself and Drumeo, and they're very much seeing it like an iceberg. They're seeing a little bit of what they know.
Yeah.
But there's this whole foundation, but below there, that is all part of the story. So when you see me market something heavy and like I'm like hard selling and just trying to get people to make a decision, right? Buy now or this deal's going away. And that's like, well, that's kind of, don't do that to me. You got to go easier. Well, no, I want you to make a decision. I want you to decide if you're going to play music or not, because if you start with us, I know that I have retention campaigns built in. I have engagement campaigns built in. I have things. Our whole platform is like technology meets tradition. So you can connect with a live instructor one-to-one to get the help and motivation, inspiration. So I know if I get these people hooked in, that they're way more likely to stay playing drums. So I'm happy to market aggressively, and it sometimes, you said cash cow, it sometimes can appear that we care so much about the sales, but we really want people to get enrolled and get on the path to musical success.
Yeah, and it helps remove apathy as well.
Yeah.
Making people make a decision removes any kind of apathy, or they don't get to sit on the fence, because it's something that benefits them.
Yeah.
Playing music has a tangible benefit.
Especially in this past year, yeah.
Yeah. So what are you gonna do instead? You're gonna go watch Netflix every night, or you're gonna spend 30 minutes playing music, and so that's exactly right. So I think people have time. I think majority of people have the resources. I mean, if you have the internet, our YouTube channel will teach you how to play drums. It's not as good of an experience as Drumeo, but I mean, it's still really good. Right?
Yeah.
We can all agree. You can learn a lot off of just YouTube. Right?
Absolutely.
So
for free.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun to see where it all goes. Another 18 years from now.
Yeah, well, that's an obvious question for us that we had, is like, what's the evolution of it?
Yeah, what's the future?
I think
streaming like you said, streaming platforms. I want to create like a place for all musicians to hang out. Like, so you have Netflix, you have Hulu, you have Disney Plus. What is it for musicians? Where is that one streaming platform where a musician can log in and they can search things by their interest or their instrument that they play? They can search things by the bands that they love. They can watch live shows. There's this like content that has been curated and organized specifically for people who are living a lifestyle as a musician.
that's amazing.
Yeah, that's really cool.
That like,
sign me up.
Yeah. It's like, 1 minute you're watching The Song Remains the Same documentary, the next minute you're watching A Hard Day's Night, or you're watching a doc about Miles, and then you get into a Tony Williams lesson or something. Before you know it, you're down a rabbit hole of all this stuff that's just...
Yeah. Netflix has like the Queen documentary, right? And they just did a documentary on the rapper Biggie, and they've done other things. So it'd be cool if you're like watching a Queen documentary, and then you're like okay, now you're going to go take some lessons on learning some Queen songs.
Yeah.
And then you're going to go, okay, so there's techniques associated with that I need to learn. So I'm going to learn some of those techniques as well. And so there's like all these different
snowballs.
I mean,
and it all relates.
Yeah,
right?
you watch the documentary, then Roger's teaching you the part.
Yeah. That'd be so cool.
Or like
That'd be rad.
Brian May's teaching you the part. Or, you know what I mean? It's just like, that's that. You can't really put a price on that, because that's pretty amazing. And all that heritage and story that these guys will bring to it as well, you know. You watch something about weather report, and the next thing Erskine's actually taking you through how they played all that stuff, you know. That's
It'd be so cool.
absolutely, man. Yeah, I'm in too.
Chris is actually going to be at your office on Monday morning.
Sure.
My flight leaves in like 2 hours. I've already checked in.
Well, you'll have to quarantine for 14 days on your way in.
That's
Canada
fine.
rules.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll do that.
I'm going to switch gears a little bit. So me and Chris both play Sonar drums, and
Nice.
I know for a fact that you have been to the Sonar factory. So what was it like being in the Sonar factory?
Oh my goodness, it's like so much heritage and history. Have you guys ever been there?
The Paul and Gordon who own and operate the store, they've been. I was due to go when COVID hit, and actually I was supposed to be there the day my daughter was born.
Okay.
So I'm kind of glad I wasn't, because that would have been a conversation that I don't want to have. When are you?
Well, yeah, I filmed a documentary on that, and what was cool with that is to see, like, I think the one guy who's cutting all the lengths for the shells had been there for like 40 some years.
Yeah.
The main craftsman, and then Carl Hines, the leader of Sonar, had been there again for like 43 or 44 years. And then I learned more about the company as being like over 100, it's founded in 1875, and all this like history with the royal family, and how they kind of like moved the company throughout the World War I and World War II, and all this like other history. It was so fascinating, and I'm like part German as well, although I don't speak. Wow. Yeah, so it was just cool to be out there, and we went up into the hills, like where we could see the factory, and we shot some video just on the side of this mountain. It's just gorgeous. Like, I loved it. I'd love to go back there.
Yeah, it's apparently amazing. Like, total vibe.
We would love to go.
Yeah, I'm
especially because we both play Sonar drums as well.
Yeah,
like,
I became a kind of convert when they had a bit of they've had a really great renaissance in the UK over the last wee while, because they're now distributing themselves over here. They had some distribution issues for a long time, so actually getting the drums in the UK was really hard. But now they're readily available. I think we are one of the UK's #1 dealers for Sonar. We sell a lot of Sonar over here because we believe in it. You know, the drums are tremendously well built. You know, handmade. You know,
as you well know.
Yeah. So,
yeah, I have a few Sonar kits. So.
Yeah, they're pretty scary good.
Which one's your favourite?
Well, we have the Pro Light. I think I would say that's my favorite. I don't have an SQ2. I would obviously love one, but we have the SQ1 and a Pro Light, and I would love to get a vintage Sonar. I was eyeing it the other day. There's one used one for sale, and I'm like, I really want that, but I have like way too many kits right now.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, they are a vibe, man. They are a total thing. You know, they're great.
Chris is the worst person to talk to about vintage, because he will try and sell you a vintage like right now. If he plays one,
if you go and answer the door, it's outside. Your wife took care of payment. It's fine. No, they're just we love them. We love them. So
awesome.
Yeah, that must be amazing as well. Did you not do Tama? I'm sure you did the Tama factory as well.
I did. I was in Saito, Japan, and Osaka, and Tama makes great drums as well.
Yeah, Paul, who owns this place, he got to see Yamaha too. He went to the Yamaha factory, so he's seen the Japanese and the Chinese production. So
I was there as well.
Yeah,
I was in Tokyo, and I was in Zhengzhou.
Zhengzhou. I think so. Yeah. Yeah, very different, I believe, between how they make the drums in both those factories, but equally amazing. You know.
Yeah.
I think the Chinese factory is a little more clinical than the Japanese factory, from what I understand. You know, you won't find a drumstick lying about. It's all very kind of precise, and then the Japanese factory is a bit more. Yeah, we're going to lay back a little. Like,
well, I don't even know Yamaha has Japanese factory anymore.
It has one that they make Sakai. They make the PHX in.
Oh, they still make that. Sakai still makes the PHX.
No.
No?
Yamaha make it themselves.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they make it themselves. It's like a very small. I think there's 5 guys can make the drums. Okay. So when Sakai started making drums for themselves, they parted ways with Yamaha.
Right.
I think it was Sakai's 40th anniversary, so they wanted to go out and do it for themselves, and Yamaha were like, cool, no problem. So nice. Yamaha had that. I think that's one of the reasons the production moved to China.
Right.
And they keep the PHX there, so yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry for the lesson.
I love Yamaha, so I should know all that.
Yeah. Yamaha and Paiste, right?
Yeah. Well, I have no drumming endorsement or anything.
No, but
I work with all the companies. I love them.
Yeah. What do you look for when you buy drums then? So, what kind of sounds are you looking for, or do you treat it all individually?
Well, I just like a bunch of different types. Like I can't say like, oh, I'm just going to play this A&F kit. Like I love this A&F kit. The fact that the tuning range is so low. Is it easy to tune? Is it easy to set up? Is the hardware manageable? Because, we've done blind tests and stuff, and like a drum is a round piece of wood with metal glued onto it and stuff. So it's like, yes, there's an art form in putting it together, but when it comes to sound, I always challenge people to do a blind test and like see if you could like tell the difference between a Sonar and a Yamaha Phoenix. You might be able to. Trained ears are definitely better, but still, it's like really hard to do that if you did like 10 different tests and to make get over 50% right.
Oh, there's so many variables as well. Yeah.
So for me, I love like, well, how does it look? The kit. What are the aesthetics of it? And
I like the you did one with Paiste as well, didn't you? You blind tested some cymbals and stuff.
Yeah.
And you managed to pick out the Paiste.
Yeah. Because I've played those cymbals before, right? So I already kind of knew what that Paiste, I think it was the ride cymbal that I got right or whatever, but I kind of know what they sound like.
Yeah.
And
super consistent.
Yeah. Paiste is I think cymbals is easier to do like a blind test than drums.
Yeah. I would agree with that. I would agree with that.
Yeah. So drums is like a lot about how does it look? How many pieces is it? How does it sound with the music you're playing?
Yeah.
There's other variables that matter to me there.
Yeah, the room and how's it? Are they all tuned together? The depth.
Have they all got the same head on them?
Yeah. Exactly.
How much coffee did you drink today? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So many things about it. So, well, man, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate. Likewise. I know you've had a break from podcasts, so I appreciate that you broke your break.
Yeah, definitely. Well. Podcasts, I always love just sitting down and chatting and everything. But, it's just like when COVID started, it seemed like everyone was doing podcasts for a while. And that just was like a lot. It was just too much.
Yeah.
And I find if I do less, then I can like promote the ones that I do and really spend time just like focusing on those. And so I'd love to send people to this once it's all done. We'll
amazing.
Put some stuff out.
Yeah.
And we'll like put it up on the socials and make sure everyone gets tagged, and hopefully people enjoy it. Like I still am shocked when people want to listen to anything I have to say. I'm humbled, and I'm so appreciative that you guys asked and allowed me to be on the show. So,
I mean, you're one of the guys that changed the game for all of this stuff, for the way people learn, man. It 9 years of busting your ass, as Drumeo. Before that, 4 or 5 years before that, of really changing how people can learn. That's pretty amazing.
And even from talking to you there's a lot of parallels that we certainly notice between us and yourself. It's just like... Yeah,
it's pretty amazing. I'm looking forward to seeing what else you pull off, man. It's going to be great.
Yeah. Likewise, keep in touch, and if you guys need anything, but business-wise or drumming-wise, just let me know. I'm happy to help. But thank you for having me on. It's been a blast.
Thank you so much, Jared.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Drummers Only Radio.
You can find us online at www.drummersonly.co.uk.
Drop us a line. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter at Drummers Only UK.
Make sure you subscribe to the podcast. We're on Apple, Spotify and YouTube.
Any questions? info@drummersonly.co.uk is the email, or if you need leads, it's leads@drummersonly.co.uk.
Thanks again for listening.
And we'll see you next time.